Galactic Command had no doubts. Earth would fold in days. The beast had never failed. Across 8 systems and 3 spiral arms, its deployment marked the beginning of planetary surrender. It wasn't the claws or teeth that ensured victory. It was a psychological decay that followed its presence. Entire governments collapsed before the first military contact. Civilizations begged for annexation rather than face what it represented. The alien general in charge, High Strategos Virile, had spent 2 decades perfecting fear as a tool of war. The beast was his masterpiece. Cloned from a long-extinct apex predator and genetically weaponized with tailored pheromonal neurotoxins, auditory frequencies, and predatory behavior adapted to each species it encountered, it didn't kill en masse. It broke resolve. It shattered will. Then it watched as the survivors destroyed each other. Earth would be no different. Except when the beast landed, something broke protocol. It didn't unleash a sonic howl. It didn't maul the nearest bioform. It sniffed the air, tilted its head, and wagged its tail. Command assumed a malfunction. The data was reviewed twice, then re-encoded and routed through 3 translation matrices. The live feed from the stealth satellite confirmed the same. The beast was active, but it was behaving erratically. The humans didn't react with terror. The first team that approached, 5 personnel in adaptive armor, held position cautiously. Their body language showed no panic, no defensive posturing. One of them even knelt. She extended a hand. The beast sat down and allowed itself to be petted. Strategos Virile stared at the footage in silence. He reviewed the data tags again. Olfactory dispersal engaged. Threat posturing optimal. Aggression matrix unaltered. Everything indicated it should have been operating at peak intimidation. Instead, the creature licked the soldier's glove and rolled onto its back. The control team suggested environmental anomalies. Earth was a death world. Perhaps the unique biological matrix was interfering. An analysis team was dispatched. But before they arrived, a second feed came in. Civilian interaction. A child approached. No armor. No backup. The creature lowered itself, emitted a soft vocalization, and allowed the girl to hug it. Her mother laughed and pulled out a recording device. Within 42 minutes, the footage had spread across Earth's global data networks. The beast was trending, not as a terror, as a puppy. Human commentators speculated it was a secret government breed. Some suggested it was a stray dog mutated by exposure to one of Earth's remaining radiation zones. Others claimed it was an alien species abandoned by its owners. Whatever the case, the name Puppernaut took hold. Meme formats exploded. A still frame of the beast licking the child's face was replicated with text overlays like, "Alien invasion? We rate this a 13 out of 10 good boy." Strategic intelligence attempted to counter the viral content with warnings about unknown biology and potential danger. The effort failed spectacularly. Humans ignored it. Virile ordered tactical reassessment. Their fear vector was nullified. That alone was unprecedented. But the greater threat wasn't the failure of the beast. It was the absence of any psychological destabilization. Earth's population hadn't panicked. They adapted. They recontextualized the event into a positive emotional narrative. The military hadn't mobilized. The press hadn't incited mass fear. They had smiled. The next day, the creature was spotted wearing a red scarf and a makeshift harness. Humans were taking it for walks. Somewhere in the northern hemisphere, a university professor published a viral think piece on the socio-cultural impact of alien canines on human compassion centers. The piece concluded that if this is war, it's the most polite invasion in recorded history. 2 alien analysts assigned to the Earth desk requested reassignment. Virile denied both requests. Instead, he initiated Level 2 protocol engagement, specimen recovery. A stealth drone was deployed to retrieve the beast for internal diagnostics. It never returned. Telemetry ceased 2 kilometers from retrieval vector. Final transmission showed the creature pausing to sniff the air, then darting forward at a speed too fast for biological norms. Its eyes had glowed briefly, uncharacteristic for its known parameters. Strategos Virile didn't sleep for 70 hours. A secondary recon team deployed, this time with counter-biological armor and zero-emission weapons. They reached the target zone, neutralized human observers with stun dampeners, and initiated extraction. The beast didn't resist. It barked once, an ordinary sound, loud but not threatening. The soldiers loaded it into a cryopod and initiated lift. The ship's systems failed 10 seconds after takeoff. The recon team awoke 2 hours later with no memory of the intervening time. The creature was gone. Surveillance footage showed it walking calmly out of the hull breach it had created with an unidentified energy field. It paused at the trilene and looked back. The tail wagged once. Back on Earth, new footage emerged. The same creature sitting with a war veteran in a wheelchair. The caption read, "He hasn't smiled in 8 years. Today he laughed." Viral called an emergency meeting of the Interwar Council. The room, shielded by 10 layers of interdict protocols, contained the most dangerous tacticians the galaxy had produced. All watched the footage without comment. The silence was broken by Counselor Run of the Yexel Dominion. "They've domesticated our apex psychological weapon." "No," Viral said slowly. "They've adopted it." The word hung in the air with more weight than any doomsday weapon. Counselor Grell pulled up comparative data on other species exposed to the beast. Every planet collapsed within 2 to 6 days. Earth had not only endured, it had embraced. Viral reviewed Earth's history again. There were anomalies he had dismissed. The creature known as the honey badger, the ice divers of the southern poles. The species' repeated exposures, self-generated existential threats without extinction. There were historical patterns of embracing danger, petting venomous reptiles, befriending apex predators. Some humans slept beside wildcats large enough to kill them. Others had willingly swum with sharks for leisure. His error was foundational. He hadn't considered that humans viewed fear differently. The beast was designed to trigger terror. To humans, terror was just a challenge to overcome. Their psychology didn't reject fear. It repurposed it. Humanity didn't see a monster. They saw a friend who needed love. The creature was now listed as an honorary member of 3 military units with formal designation K9-1 Daisy. Viral locked himself in his command chamber for a full day. He reviewed one final video. It showed a group of human children teaching the beast to sit and roll over. It obeyed, not because it had been reprogrammed, because it wanted to. In the final frame, it looked at the camera and tilted its head. A low-frequency scan revealed something impossible. It was communicating, not through words, through patterns, deliberate neural resonance fields, advanced emotional projection, developed internally. The humans hadn't taught it. It had learned from them. It was no longer the same creature. The first military vessel sent to Earth's orbit arrived, cloaked, armed, and equipped with over 1,000 elite operatives. Its mission was precision. Extract the beast, analyze its transformation, assess human resistance potential, and if needed, sterilize local planetary zones for containment. They called themselves the Kilrathi Reclaimers. What they didn't know was that Earth had been watching since the first anomaly in orbit. Humans had stopped broadcasting warnings. They had stopped attempting diplomacy. And when the Kilrathi ship crossed the thermosphere, humanity didn't panic. They waited. By the time the Reclaimers deployed their stealth squads, Daisy had disappeared from public view. The humans had hidden it. Not in a base. Not in a fortress. In a suburban home. Inside a reinforced kennel with advanced biometric locks and a feeding system calibrated to the creature's metabolic preferences. The Kilrathi assumed this was a precaution. It wasn't. It was trust. The team broke into perimeter silently. They bypassed the surveillance drones and neural tripwires. No one was home. The containment room was empty, except for Daisy, who sat calmly on a padded mat, tail wagging once as a lead infiltrator approached. He raised his weapon. Daisy yawned. The squad leader hesitated, not from fear, from confusion. His internal HUD showed no aggression response. Pheromone readings were relaxed. Threat posture, neutral. The second operative signal for containment. The pod was deployed. And then everything shut off. The lights, the weapons, their suits, even their implants. The entire house became a dead zone. The operatives couldn't speak, couldn't call for extraction. The air pressure dropped subtly. Not enough to injure, just enough to make them feel watched. Daisy stood and looked directly at the squad leader. He remembered nothing after that. The reclaimers awoke hours later in a forest 10 kilometers away with no weapons, no suits, and no memory of extraction. Their commander was missing. His helmet was found on a nearby tree branch, split cleanly in half. Forensic data showed a gravity-based shear event, impossible with the technology Earth supposedly possessed. Vero received a report through a secure channel. The timestamp was accompanied by a short video attached by human intelligence. It showed Daisy playing fetch with 2 children while wearing the squad leader's combat harness as a vest. The message was clear: stop sending soldiers. But the council didn't stop. They escalated. Within hours, a blockade was initiated around Earth. Civilian traffic was halted. A diplomatic denial field was established. The cover story for the rest of the galaxy was standard quarantine. Vero protested. His protests were ignored. The directive was final. Earth would be tested, not for conquest, for containment. Phase 2 was a seeding protocol, releasing low-impact psychological agents into human information systems to provoke global instability. AI-generated social division, synthetic panic, economic sabotage. It failed in 5 hours. Human systems detected the intrusion instantly, not through government defense grids, through decentralized independent coders. They traced the code to its off-world origin, reverse-engineered the syntax, and uploaded a mimetic virus that disabled 3 of the Council's relay nodes. The virus was embedded inside a dog GIF. Daisy had become more than a symbol. She was a platform. The humans launched no counterattack, no ships, no military demands. They didn't need to. Every attempt to destabilize their world was met not with panic, but with mockery. One post on their global network read, "Aliens trying to start WW3 with dog memes? We've been doing that since 2009. Catch up." Another simply said, "Good luck fighting a species that lets toddlers wrestle alligator for fun." Meanwhile, Daisy was evolving again. It wasn't just cognitive adaptation anymore. Biological scans showed new growth in neural pathways, denser synaptic layering, and localized gravitational distortions centered around emotional stimuli. Human emotional proximity appeared to accelerate her development. When hugged, she learned faster. When played with, she stabilized energy fields. And when she was praised, she projected a form of ambient calm that extended to anyone within 10 meters. The phenomenon was unprecedented. Daisy wasn't just adapting to Earth. She was synchronizing with humanity's emotional architecture. A rogue science collective on Jupiter's moon base intercepted gravitational wave patterns matching Daisy's signature. The waves were subtle, non-destructive, but coherent. They formed shapes, glyphs, patterns not seen in natural phenomenon. The lead researcher proposed a theory. Daisy was becoming a bridge between biology and quantum emotional states. The Council dismissed the findings. They increased the blockade. 3 cruisers moved into low orbit. They were warned not to land. They did anyway. Only one remained operational after 20 minutes. The second ship's engines reversed polarity, folding the vessel into a localized wormhole. The third was found 400 kilometers away, floating gently on the Pacific Ocean. Its crew reported hearing a soft whine before systems shut down. Survivors of the second ship appeared unharmed in rural Canada, each holding a leash. The leashes were attached to puppies, not genetically identical, not cloned, new. Daisy had reproduced. Vero submitted a classified declaration. If this is warfare, we are no longer dealing with strategy. We are dealing with something we do not understand. Earth's response is not tactical. It is cultural, philosophical, biological, and it is winning. The Council finally authorized a diplomatic contact mission, not to negotiate, to study. A neutral envoy landed in the Himalayas, accompanied by AI mediators, translation algorithms, and biological dampeners. They were met by a group of humans, all unarmed, all smiling. Daisy was there, tail wagging, surrounded by 6 new puppies. The lead diplomat stepped forward. Daisy approached and sat. A low-frequency pulse registered across all devices, human and alien alike. It bypassed software, moved through hardware, and synchronized in a pattern so simple it couldn't be dismissed. Binary empathy. 1 signal meant openness. 2 meant question. 3 meant trust. The envoy transmitted 1 pulse. Daisy responded with 3. For the first time, the council saw something they hadn't planned for. Mutual emotional language. Not programmed, not manufactured, grown. The next week, the blockade was lifted. The council called it a gesture of trust. But humanity had already moved on. They didn't celebrate. They didn't hold summits. They just kept walking their dogs. Because to them, the war was never real. The fear wasn't existential. They had taken the universe's most dangerous predator, given it a name, scratched it behind the ears, and turned it into a friend. Other species began taking notice. On the Varnik's homeworld, a fear-based hierarchy began to break down as citizens watched human footage of Daisy cuddling with kittens. On Del Terra, warlords dissolved their fiefdoms after learning that humans had domesticated creatures with jaws strong enough to bite through steel, just to keep them company.